Hello guys, and Juny and I will present about politics and society of South Asia.
Yeah.
And let's start right away.
Yeah.
So contents. Firstly, I will talk about internal politics and other political information about South Asia. And next, I'll talk about diplomacy, relationship between other countries. Uh, and she will talk about diplomacy with inside of South Asia. Lastly, she will talk about these days social and political issues.
Okay, yes.
So, yeah, I will talk about internal politics. So there is four major type of political system in democratic government. It seems very. Oops. There's. So there's Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and my bad. So there is four major type of political systems in democratic government, and I bet most of you guys won't know any of these types. So I will explain those systems. So firstly, for parliamentary system, which is 의원 내각제, in Korean, citizens vote for legislative bench, and they select executive bench in their own decisions, which is prime minister, and there is a president, but he or she is not very important in this type. So India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Pakistan are great example in South Asia. And presidential might be pretty familiar. 대통령제, voting for both legislative branch and executive branch. So we are getting some senators from legislatures and prime minister and presidents from executive branch. So Bhutan is one of example in South Asia. Nextly, dual executive system, which is 이원 집정부제. This system divides way to draw out executive branch. And so there is two different executive branches leader, which is prime minister and president, and citizens vote for presidents, but legislatures also votes for prime minister. Their authorities kind of like about same, and Maldives are using that system. And lastly, constitutional monarchy is the citizens just voting legislatures and what they want to do. Legislatures can just select executive branch, or citizens sometimes vote for executive, but there is some dynasty, so king dynasties, like UK, they have Queen Elizabeth II for their monarchy, but Queen Elizabeth II doesn't do anything about executive and legislatures. But some have some powers, like not very strong, but some powers. Oh, and by the way, constitutional monarchy is 입헌군주제 in Korean, and yeah, they have some powers or not at all, and they doesn't do something like that. And one of the example was Sri Lanka. I showed you by my mistake, and this is ruling party's political tendency. So it is political tendency of 여당. And when the color is closer to blue, then it is conservative, and when its color is close to red, then it's progressive. So you can see that India is very conservative. It is very they are very conservative, and that is why they are trying trying to not get rid of caste system and other religious stuffs. And Juny will talk about this. At other countries, Pakistan and Maldives. Yeah, Pakistan and Maldives. Ruling party's political position is center right. Yeah, it is like kind of, bluish purple. And Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh is the center left, which is kind of reddish purple. You can see. And this is national political parties index, and you can see there is many left-sided. Yeah, this is number of nations political party, and you can see the table. I won't read it for you guys, and you can see the India's political tendency over the table over here too. So I said it was pretty right, but yeah, right wing. You seems that it is only one, so it is very small. But that one have most of the supports from Indians, and yeah, so progressivisms are not very strong in India. And there are more numbers of left-wing party. No, I mean there is. Yeah, you can see some parties that are like. You can see the tendency over table too, except India. And yeah, you can compare. So for Bangladesh, it is center left, and you can see Bangladesh. You can see left. And other informations about politics. So this table is other information for South Asia countries, and one of them is Worldwide Press Freedom Index, and other is Corruption Perception Index. So Worldwide Press Freedom Index is 언론 자유 지수 in Korean, and Corruption Perception Index is 부패 인식 지수. So Worldwide Press Freedom Index measures freedom of public opinions, and Corruption Perception Index measures perceived level of public sector corruption. So, by the way, Korea's Worldwide Press Freedom Index is 23.551. I will write for you guys to compare. And which is ranked at 43. So, and Corruption Perception Index is 57, which is, let me see, 45th. So I will explain this. So when worldwide Press Freedom Index index's point is lower, then it is better, and when the Corruption Perception Index is higher, then it is better. Yeah, better one. So it is just like medium high over the world, and there is 180 countries are has surveys of this. And let's move on. And other facts of political system in South Asia is separatism. So separatism is just is the movement that administrates this 행정구역이 it's trying to declare independence. So it is a little different in detail, but one of most popular example is USA's independence from British Empire. So South Asia, especially Pakistan and India, are well known as separatism, and most of conflicts comes from those separatisms, and you can see the different languages among Indias, and there is almost 3,700 different languages are spoken in India. Yeah, and this also represents that there is many different ethnic groups and different cultures, and which makes separatisms. And this is Pakistan and Afghanistan map that shows ethnic groups, and you can see there is different kind of people is existing in small area. There are earlier cases also, like Pakistan independence from India and Bangladesh independence. So India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh was one just big country, but due to separatism, Pakistan independence from India, and Bangladesh also independence from them. And I will talk about diplomacy. And I will talk about external forces influencing into South Asia, and Juny will talk about influencing each other in South Asia. So the word Commonwealth originally means a republic. So this Commonwealth of Nations is Bang, which is powered by United Kingdom, and there is. I will talk about Commonwealth first. The word Commonwealth originally means a republic in synonyms with a republic as well. So it is synonym with republic, but now it became more meaningful than the republic. So definition is all political organization by the people can be called Commonwealth. So it is just political organization made by people. And however, Commonwealth of Nation is made by Britain. And I'll talk about some brief history. So originally they just ruled. So British just ruled over the colonies with this system. So there will be India and South Africa, or some US and Canada and Australia, and so, they just ruled over the colonies with this system. But after World War One, the colonies like Australia and other countries demanded of diplomatic rights and military rights. So, and it was not refused; it was accepted, and they became just country, colony from country. But it was not separation of relationship at all, and they are all registered at Commonwealth of Nations. And this is flag of Commonwealth of Nations, and India and Pakistan is one of member of Commonwealth of Nations. And Maldives was one of them, but they left due to Maldives government's violation of human rights, so they was kicked out. And other one will be BRICS, and this is the initial letter of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So this organization, this. So this BRICS, and this organization is made to combine opinions of each countries. For example, they started to disagree with Western Europe and US in United Nations. And in case of India, they joined to represent Third World. So Third World is just not a communist or other capitalism. So it is neither, but so you can see Third World representing is Brazil, South Africa, and India. And India was one of greatest, strongest country in third world, and so yeah, and they have so many like big populations, and they're pretty well living. And let's move on. Oh, so yeah, this is map of division of first, second, and third world. So you can see it's almost all of Latin America except Jamaica was third world, and all of Africa and almost Middle East and South Asia is third world, and India, Brazil, and South Africa was represents to third world, and none of first world was in there, and all second world was represented by Russia and China. And this is I'll talk now in this slide. I will talk about China's influences to South Asia. So China is greatly influencing to South Asia, and all of South Asia countries are influenced by China in positive or negative way. So Pakistan and Sri Lanka are represented. My bad again. So this is South Asia, and so India and Pakistan, Sri Lanka is mostly influenced by China, and Pakistan and Sri Lanka are representative China-friendly countries in South Asia. In other side, India is like hostile to China because China is supporting Pakistan, and Pakistan and India is very not, they're former enemies. And China is keep checking on India by like making some military base on Sri Lanka and supporting Pakistan. And this is the brief comic, and you can see India is teased by China and Pakistan. And with Maldives, Maldives have stepped from China, and this is too great that Maldives are having hard time to get rid of this. And China started to showing ambition in Asia, and they're trying to make Maldives in state of default. So, default is someone, you know, and they are trying to take their lands take their islands to when they can't really pay their debts. And it was my bad. And they're supposed to be with Nepal. So we got this with Nepal. And with Nepal is appealing themselves to China to be like friendly, but and they're sharing borders with China, and they want to have some economical benefits from China. And so example will be making an agreement to build a railroad through Tibet Plateau. So around here is Tibet Plateau, but yet influence between India and China is way bigger than Nepal. So even they are like very not good in a relationship, India and China's exchanging so import and export and trading like that are way more bigger than Nepal. And this is it for me, and Juny will come out and present.
Doyoung talked about diplomacy between other countries. So I'm going to talk about diplomacy between South Asian countries themselves. First is bad relationship between India and Pakistan. So there was territorial dispute between India and Pakistan. So this is India and Pakistan, and there is cashew mill, which is the problematic one. So this problem was related to religion. India is Hindu. They believe Hindu, and Pakistan they believe Islam. And cashew mill's government believed in Hindu, and so they wanted to get together with India, which believes in Hindu. But however, cashew mill citizens believed in Islam. So government wanted to get together with India. However, citizens wanted to get together with Pakistan. So that caused problem. So this led to the war between India and Pakistan to get cashew mill. Yeah, this. And this caused in 1947. So the problem with this war was that both India and Pakistan spent billions of dollars to develop nuclear weapons for conflicts over Kashmir. This also caused less money on improving their own citizens' life. So after the war broke, UN regulated to stop, and they stopped. But like our country, they ceased fire, shoot on, resting the war, and divided Kashmir so that they can have it fairly. So they divide it like this. This part is India's and this part is Pakistan's. Yeah, like that. And however, in 1964, the Second War broke, and of course UN and Soviet Union regulated them again. So war ended. And finally, Kashmir became India's territory, and they are doing special self-governing. Yeah. And next, I'm going to talk about social and political issues in South Asia. This is map of South Asia, and first I'm going to talk about Sri Lanka here. So this is Sri Lanka. It looks like mango and avocado, whatever. So in Sri Lanka there was Sinhalese and Tamil people. They came over to Sri Lanka from India. They are tribes. Yeah. They lived there, but after the British colonization ended, they got conflicts. So this is Sinhalese and Tamil. They had to live in the same region, Sri Lanka, so they fought. Sinhalese tried to rule over Sri Lanka, and Tamil got mad for that because they are different people and they have different religion, different culture, different language. This caused trouble. So Sinhalese tried to rule over everything, And Sinhalese got all the rights for the nation, and they violated Tamilar. Yeah. So Tamilar made rebellion to fight against Sinhalese. It's called Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. And they fought against Sinhalese for independence. However, Soviet Union and India interfered in this war between Sinhalese and Tamilar, and they fought for Sinhalese. They helped Sinhalese. So to make it simple, they fought each other. Sinhalese was the government top part, like who has 권력 of in Sri Lanka, and Tamilar was like rebellion. So you can say that it's government versus rebellion also. Tamilar fought hard for their independence. However, they lost, surrendered, and this ended the war. This civil war lasted for 26 years, and still Sinhalese are kind of regulating Tamilar. Next, I'm going to talk about Custis System that Doyoung mentioned before. This Custis System is basically dividing social classes. So first, this Dalits, they are like outcast. They are like below. Under the caste system, the lowest, they are mostly slaves. Yes. And this is Sudra, which is the first level of caste system. They are mostly physical laborers. And next is Paisha, which is higher than Sudra. They are the people related to production, like farmers, merchants, and singers, or Paisha. And Kshatriyas are people who protect laws and maintain society, like soldiers, police. And the top part is Brahman, which is educators or prayers for Hindu gods, like scholar, priesthood, 성직자, yeah. And also Dalits, the reason why this is out of the caste system is because they are really, really low. They are symbolized for evil spirits, and they are despised by other caste level people, and they are treated really bad. This division became illegal in 1947 as a law, but still few people applied his system and discriminate people. And next problem is poverty in whole South Asia, but I will talk about especially India. So unlike our countries, too much growth in population is problem in South Asia, which leads to poverty, especially India. This graph shows the population growth in India, and this is the population density in India. Unlike our country, they are suffering from too much population because there is limited resources, but populations were growing so rapidly So India has 40% of world's poor, and 399 million people live with $1.25 a day in India.
We need Thanos.
Yeah, kind of. Wait, what? So this cause serious poverty and homeless in India. Like this picture. Yeah, but this includes not only India but for other countries also. So the government in India are trying their best to manage population. Yeah, and controlling the population growth. And this is one of India's campaign slogan. Let's have small families for a stronger India.
May you read Indian?
Huh?
May you read Indian for us?
Same. Yeah. And lastly, there is a problem with Maldives because Maldives is a country in the Indian Ocean composed by a bunch of islands. However, it's sinking down because sea level is rising. And this is because of global warming. And you have to use bike or walk and turn off light if possible to save